Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I've been very, very well, to be honest with you. Let's get Bimbus Nimbus out of here. Let's have a little bit of a chat, because we need to talk about the Leeds United match against Bristol City, because I've not had a chance to talk about it, because on Friday, Saturday afternoon, work had me covering El Clasico, which, if you're a football fan, you will know that is a very, very big thing that needs quite a lot of attention. If you are a F1 fan, you'll know that doing the Mexican Grand Prix yesterday was going to have been a little bit wild, and I've just not had a chance to do a little bit of a chat, so I figured I'd do it in live stream format, have a little bit of a talk about the Bristol City match. And in addition to that, I have a little bit of a video to record in a few minutes, which I think should be quite good. Trying to decide. Hello, Nikki. And hello, Danny. How are we all doing? I'm trying to decide whether or not I do the recording on stream or not, or if I do it as like a members stream kind of thing. It's hard to decide. But we need to talk about the Bristol City match, because a lot of people are very, very mad that we didn't beat Bristol City. And the thing with the Bristol City match is it's kind of fine. And I know that I've entitled this "What Went Wrong," but in my opinion, a draw against Bristol City is probably okay, because if you're going into those three matches that we just played against Watford, Bristol City, Sheffield United, and beforehand, you're going, gee, wonder how many points we'll get. Some people would have said 6, some people would be like, I'll be fine enough with 5, but we should do a little bit better. And if anyone comes out of it saying we get 7 points and 9 isn't good enough, they've gone insane, right? We all sort of agree on that, because going into those fixtures, we weren't looking particularly confident. We had just drawn against Sunderland, which again wasn't fantastic. Then an international break, match before that as well, Norwich. So we're coming off of 2 draws, and then we get to face Sheffield United, who were up at the top. We get to face Watford, who were in the playoffs, and we got to face Bristol City, who hadn't been beaten at home at all. Which is something that I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to, because I know that we like to lean in and sort of go, oh, so what does this mean for Leeds United as a club? We need to remember that on a football pitch, there are 2 sides at any one moment. And to sort of 100% go, yeah, but what did Leeds do wrong, rather than what did Bristol City do right, and how can we learn and improve against that next time out? Because without a doubt, clubs will be looking at that and going, right, okay, cool, how do we beat Leeds United? Is important, I think. And if you don't sort of go into that and come out of that and go, how can we learn? I think we're doing ourselves a little bit of a disservice. Why I have silly questions, as you know, I know nothing about football. Did the manager get fired? If so, no, Leeds United's manager didn't get fired. Manchester United's manager got fired. And it's very funny. Although I'd much rather he sort of stick around there, because it's sad, you know? I just think if he would have been there longer, he would have been able to do significantly more damage to them, which would have been wonderful. The side that sets up with a 5-man midfield, Park needs a plan B or C. Probably fair, but I'm going to dive into that when I'm doing the next video bit that I'm recording towards the end of this stream, because I think I've got quite a lot of bits that need to be sort of dived into head first to have a proper understanding of where this has come from. Clive, that was insane. That is madness. That is stupid. No, let's not go for Ten Hag. Sean, you just want rid of him. We know this. We already know this. I don't think it was those poems that were just a bit flat. Yeah, this is the vibe that I got, right? So the general feeling from me and from what I've seen is that the left-hand side didn't do much aggressively. Fine. We knew that this was going to be the case because Sam Byram is a bit more passive. Nonto likes to cut on the inside. So in terms of width on the left, you've got very little. We knew that this was coming because it was bound to be, unless you play Schmidt out there. But odds are you're probably not going to be doing that right now because we've not really tested him. And then you're thinking, okay, so we need to make a change at some point. So let's take out Nonto because he might need a rest, and let's take out James because he might need a rest, because let's be honest, these are players that have done a hell of a lot of football recently, and you bring on Solomon and Pat. By this point, I'm fairly sure the goal is to get a point. But that's kind of okay for me. And again, it's a thing I'll get into on the video bit when I record it a little bit later. This is a fair point. I'm not going to say that Byram didn't play well, but for me, he plays differently to Firpo. And that's where the issue is. It's not an issue with Byram being not good or anything like that. It's an issue with Byram not necessarily being the right pick for that match. So let's have a quick scroll in, shall we? And share this. It's disappeared. Bloody hell, SofaScore, why is your website like this? Why you gotta make me have such a fizzing disdain for you from time to time? I'll be 1 second. I just need to find where the fuck this heat map has gone. Right, lineups. Byram. Cool. So, present screen, share screen. It would be the SofaScore one. Boom. Okay, so this is where there's a potential slight issue. Right, okay, you can see my mouse. Cool. Had to make sure. Byram is someone that will drift into the centre-back position to do central cover. He will go very, very deep to make sure that we're okay. And when he's going forwards, when you look at Junior Firpo's heat maps, these areas are significantly more at risk. Areas known as, I believe, 16 and 18 or something. Basically, the way that coaches do things is they split the pitch into 18 zones. So a 3x3 in each of the halves. The fullback areas are 1, 3, 16, 18. So 1 and 3 would be your defensive ones. Byram doesn't really get into zone 1. Well, zone 16, sorry, because he's going forwards, at all. And that's where the fundamental difference is with Junior Firpo. Yes, you can see that he's tried to sneak in a little bit because the zone starts as you cross this line. But it doesn't get all the way forwards. And the difference is Firpo gets to the byline. He gets to the byline, cuts it back and fires it in. Lovely. Fantastic. Brilliant. Love to see it. Byram is more of a sort of... He's very right-footed. And he knows he's right-footed. He acknowledges this. And that means that he's not able to whip in those same crosses, which means that we don't have that same threat coming down the left-hand side, which is spooky. And that's why I think we'll look significantly better, no matter who's playing at right back in the next match, when we've got Junior Firpo back. Because Byram, on his right foot, is happier to go higher up. Yeah, he still likes to cut in a little bit, but he's happy to get higher, which is nice of him, to be honest. It's good to see. Let's have a quick look through. Piro's done nothing in 2 games. He's been that poor, but gone back into the mix. I was personally of the opinion that if you have anyone in your squad and you are going to say they are completely out of the mix in the first place, you're probably doing things wrong. Bamford, in my opinion, was never out of the mix, just because it's quite hard to call it a mix if you've not got everyone in there. You are a little bit. Spice it up a little bit. Let's get changing things. It was good against Sheffield United, but he's done nothing since. Yeah, this is one of the concerns with Piru. I don't know if he's good as a starting 9. Compared to coming off the bench and playing in that second striker role, which is why I think when Pat came on and we went to that 2 striker system, one, Bamford got big energy out there, tried to sort of put his authority down, even though he wasn't on the pitch for very long. How long did Pat have? Let's have a quick check. Leeds subs. Yeah, 5 minutes he was on the pitch as a second striker with Mateo. And it looked kind of good. There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of bouncing around the place. And I think I agree with this take. I liked it when he came off the bench and killed the game off. I don't like him starting. Because from that position, you need a lot of fucking energy in the press. And that's where you have Nonto and Aronson and James doing their thing. But if James is coming back from an injury and you need to manage his minutes, specifically if like we're taking him off after 71, 70 minutes, that tells me that he's being managed. In the same way that us taking off Solomon tells me that he's being managed because they're coming back from this injury and we don't want to lose them for a very, very, very long time. And I think Peru doesn't provide that energy early in the match. So when it gets to the later stages and you are bringing on Mateo and you are bringing on Bamford, they're not playing against players that are quite as tired, which I think is in itself a little bit of an error. And I don't know where I sit on this, purely because we already signed so many players in the summer. That's a completely new midfield to Naka Rothwell. Bought Roden, bought Bogle. Look through the bench. Bought Schmidt. We've just signed Guiavogi. Signed Solomon. It's a very new squad. That's a lot of new signings, and if you add a number 9 to that as well, you're taking away from the budget in other places, which is tough. It's all about balance, and it's a worry for me, I think. On this one, I think it's genuinely a potentially interesting conversation. So I'm going to pop it in the chat. Should we let Pat start again? Yay or nay? Or I honestly don't know. There we go. Let's have some options. And let's see what people think. I don't know, because that's not the case. Because it's not a case of he was poor. It's a case of he did a different job to Junior Firpo. There's a reason that absolutely everywhere is like, oh, cool, Byram, not too awful. 8.3 on SofaScore, did really well on stuff like Who Scored as well. And yeah, it's algorithmic, but within what his job tends to be, which is the more passive fullback rather than the more active wingback, he did his thing. Like 0.5 expected assists is a hell of a lot of chance creation. So he's not fantastic going forwards, but he's pretty fucking good at the defensive stuff. And on the defensive stuff as well, right? I know we've had a lot of people be like, "Oh crap, we're not gonna win. We're not gonna get promoted if we can't beat Bristol City." What matters in the world of football is significantly more than we like to admit it. Clean sheets. So I've had a quick look at their fixtures so far this season, and looked at defensive stuff. Only twice this season have we conceded more than 1 XG. Norwich, Sunderland. Sunderland, we should have won because the ball got thrown into our own net, sadly. Norwich, a big chunk of that XG is a penalty. Outside of that, defensively, Portsmouth, less than 1. West Brom, who will be in the conversation at the end of the season, less than 1. Sheffield Wednesday, hammered them. Hull, 0.5. They'll be in the playoffs or at least around it. Burnley, we outplayed them on every metric. Cardiff, 0.1. Coventry, 0.4. And we were all going to Coventry being like, this will be the threat. No. Sheffield United, 0.2. And they were top of the table having not lost a match yet. Watford, 0.7. Bristol City, 0.1. This last week, we've created enough chances to score 4 times. Other teams have created enough chances to score once. And that comes through in the underlying data. And sometimes it's not going to come through in a result, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, across the pitch, we've got players that are doing the job that they are meant to do, and we've got them doing it well enough. And whilst we're saying it was a shit performance, we need to remember that football matches are the entire pitch, right? Football matches aren't just the other team's third. They are our defensive third. It's the middle third. It's absolutely everywhere. And the amount of control that we've got over almost every game tells me that we're probably doing enough here. And I don't think promotion is going to be an issue for us by the end of the season, because you're looking at that match and you're saying, it's a shame that Bogle's effort didn't go in. It's a shame that Mateo Joseph couldn't score with his first touch. And this is it for me. They're making the opportunities, and without them, we don't have the chance to score. And that's where the problem is, because we're having chance on chance on chance on chance, and we're making more and more and more and more opportunities for ourselves. And sometimes it's not going to go in. And that's okay. That feels like that's probably like a line from a Viagra advert. But yeah, difficult. I think we're basically okay though, aren't we? Hello there. Would you like me to show the stream the puppy, or are you hiding the fact that you've put him in a Halloween outfit?
It's not Halloween, it's Christmas.
Oh, it is Christmas. That's my bad.
Gosh.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was Halloween 3 days before Halloween. Why didn't I jump to Christmas, which is 2 months away?
Right, I'll put him in Halloween outfit.
Oh no, don't Halloween him as well. Oh my god, darling. He's a dashing, it makes him a Halloweeny.
Exactly.
Haha. Hello again. Still pouring for a purple player like that. The abuse would be non-stop, different complexion, origin, environment. I don't know if one kind of hate crimey to be like, you see, Furpo's not getting insulted because he's from the Dominican Republic and black. But at the same time, what? They play different games. They are different styles of footballer, right? If you put, I don't know, let's think of someone, Ethan Ampadu in the number 9, you're not going to expect them to play the exact same way as a Bamford, are you? Realistically. It's a weird take, I think. Is okay enough for you. Right, the thing with this is okay will mean different things for different people. I'm seeing it as okay as in you are fine to drop some points sometimes because you just are. Because past 3 matches, 7 points, that's more than 2 points per game, and they are not easy games. Away to a team that had not lost at Ashton Gate, with 2 home fixtures to the top of the table. Were they top of the table? They were at least in the conversation. And Watford, who were in the playoffs at the time. And coming out of that well, it's pretty good, right? And I wouldn't even say it's just okay. That is a good set of performances. And I think what we tend to do as a fan base is we see that things haven't gone well in a match. And because people naturally are like pattern-seeking animals, we go, where's the pattern of what's wrong then? And we immediately go, well, this has gone wrong here. What if it goes wrong here and here and here and here? And we go catastrophizing and make big problems that aren't there. In the last 2, 3, 4, 5, no, hold on. Last 7 league matches, we've conceded 4 times. If you go to every single match this season except the Portsmouth match, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11 matches, and we've conceded 5 times. Include the Portsmouth match, we've conceded 8 in 12. That's really good. That's genuinely a very good return. And for the big old head loss that's coming from getting a point, I don't understand why that's come from there. I'll be honest with you. I think we need to sort of accept that we can be fine. And we don't necessarily need to worry about everything that we see that could be going a little bit wrong at some point, maybe. Because that's how things get bad. And yeah, I will say, we weren't good enough. We weren't good enough to win. But the fact of the matter is, that is, I would say, outside the Borough match, which has big extenuating circumstances attached to it, that was probably our worst performance of the season, and we've still gotten a point. I don't know about lazy. This is the thing. I don't think it's lazy. I think it's tired. No. I think it's a case of Ramazani was supposed to be the fit winger right now and then got injured, which means that you've got Mana Solomon coming back in, who had to play against Watford, who clearly was not ready to play that match against Watford. And then he's played a lot of minutes in the week when he wasn't supposed to play minutes. And then you're like, shit, okay, I guess Dan James is playing. Let's limit him to 70 maybe, because again, injured. And then we'll bring on Solomon because madness. And because again, he was recently injured, and I guess we're sort of trying to make sure that he doesn't overplay himself. And then Aronson has played a lot of football, because we need to remember last Friday, was it? We came back from an international break. 60 hours before that, he had played in North America. One player, I think, doesn't have the excuse of working their absolute bollocks off every single match is probably Piru. Because he's not getting international call-ups. And he still looks slow. He still looks a bit draggy. But I don't think it's lazy. I think it's tired. But 3 matches in 8 days, I think this is done. Next match is... I don't actually know. Plymouth, Saturday. That's a big old break. That's a full week. It's a bit more than a week because we had the early kickoff this last week. And that's plenty of time for people to get their fitness back, have a couple of days of rest, get into training, and get into that condition. I think we'll be a lot better after that. This is the thing. One of the problems with having international players is being able to use them after a friendly due to fatigue and jet lag, and not only that, risk them picking up injuries. It does, quite seriously. So I think we're doing a lot of balancing of players at the minute just to make sure that the resources are there when we badly need them. Because we're missing Gruev and Ampadu through impact injuries, right? And if we get more injuries in that same area, that's really bad. We can agree on that, right? That would be awful. So the policy from this point is, whilst these impact injuries are causing big problems, because that's also roughly similar to what Ramazani's got, we need to make sure that the wear and tear injuries do not happen. And that's why you're getting the minute management. Because whilst, sure, we could have gone gung-ho right now and given it 1,000% against Bristol, and maybe we squeak a last-minute winner. If that happens, and we try for that, but we don't get the winger, we don't get the winner, and one of our wingers and Matteo Joseph come off with injuries, that's not worth it. And that loses us a hell of a lot more than 2 points further down the line. So it's about balance and making sure that everything's okay, I think. Generally think Bamford behind a 9 would be ideal. Pat's good. Playing can play the wingers. I don't know about behind a 9. Because I think the hold-uppy thing is what he does reasonably well. Ho-ho! Thank you very much, Wayne. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cheers. On this, I've got half an idea for you, but I will have to ping you a message. But I don't know if you can access the full version as is. Just trust me, I've got half an idea. Should have rested Aronson. Question is, who comes in? Because the thing with Aronson is he does a lot of off-the-ball stuff. And I don't know if we've got anyone else that does the same movement. And admittedly, that'll be why he's very tired. That's what he's good at, I think. I don't know if it's a bit early for this. Because looking at like goal involvements throughout the season so far. Need to get to the right page again. That's not the right page again. That's the right page again. Yeah, goal involvements this season. Goals and assists. Piru. Most goals. Fourth most assists. With having a rotational role. I don't know if it's a get-rid situation. I feel like that's a little bit severe. Because he's got a big role to play, and he might have a big role to play next season. Especially if we're playing slower stuff next season because the change in league. But maybe, but our current one has us third place in the championship, having played basically all of the toughest teams in the division 12 matches in. Played Sunderland, we played Burnley, we played Sheffield United, we played West Brom. That's the rest of the top 5. In fact, let's have a look at the table. Okay, so we've played all the rest of the top 5. I'm going to have to move some information about. Haven't played Blackburn, so we've not played against 6th. Have played Watford. Have played Norwich. We've not played Borough in the league. Not played Millwall. Have played Bristol City. Have played Derby. So in the top 12, there are 4 teams we haven't played against. 4. In the top 8, there's 1. We've played the harder games. And stuff like the Oxford Uniteds and the... let's have a look. Oxford United, Plymouth, Luton are down there right now. QPR are down there right now. They're all teams to be beaten. And I think we can. Feeling all right with it. I know you think that, but I think you're wrong. And I'm going to get into why I think you're wrong when I do a little bit of a video recording in a few minutes. On that basis, avoiding international players is a better strategy. Depends, to be honest with you. Because international players tend to be the better players. Like, would you have preferred to not get Tanaka? In spite of the fact that he has to travel quite a lot? Absolutely no. No. Absolutely not, Nuno. Let's stop having conversations about sacking a manager when we're in 3rd place, shall we? It's getting silly. You rush your... What is case? What's the case? One sec. This is madness. Genuinely madness. We've got 4 wingers, all of whom have a genuine claim to the first 11. Remember last season when we had 4 wingers and Jadon Anthony didn't get in? At all. And the discussion here is, let's do that again? Like, who do you sign and how do you persuade them that they're getting minutes? And what wingers do we have that are currently bad enough to need replacing that quickly? The 10, yeah, maybe there's a conversation for a creative 10. If they compress to Aronson's, like, intensity. That's a big if, though. Yeah, but don't read it then. It's fine. It's all okay. Contrasting quality between the 2 teams is stark. Sick of hearing excuses. Farker, you got it wrong. He'll probably... Right. Okay. This is it, basically. Hello, player. Would you like to be our 5th choice winger? I'm sure you'll love the bench. That is the situation that we're going to be in if we're like, yeah, you know what we'll do? We'll sign wingers. What? Hello, player. Would you like to come and potentially be a centre forward? Yes, you might be our first choice if you do reasonably well, but if not, down to number 4, I guess. No. Depends on Solomon. It does a bit depend on Solomon, but at the same time, he is getting back up to pace after being injured. Right, okay, on this. We are 3rd place in the league. We have... Where do I even start? We're 3rd place. We lose points to individual errors more than anything. And we've lost a single game of football in the league in 12. One other team in this league is doing that right now. 1. And their performances aren't there right now. So let's not do head loss in October when the league ends in May. Because it's silly and it's pointless. But that's the thing. We do this thing where we're immediately assuming, yeah, we should batter every single team in this league. That's not how football works. It's just not. Many other factors at play, including the fact that they've been playing their arses off for their manager given his personal situation. And on this, the complaint seems to be that we look ordinary sometimes. You know, ordinary is average, right? Ordinary is normal and standard. Being ordinary is okay. And yeah, we don't want to be it too often because if you're ordinary all the time, you're not going to get promoted. But we're not ordinary all the time. That was our worst match so far. Comfortably, in terms of performance, and we still drew. At our worst, no, but this is the fucking thing. There are standards. And the standards being our worst performance still got us a point against a team that hasn't lost a game at home this season. At our worst. That is a very high standard. And for your standards to be above that standard? Sorry? 1 second. Don't know how to search for this, but I'm trying to find a thing. Read out those two starting 11s. Yeah, but that's not the fucking... Oh, Jesus. If individuals are underperforming, I don't know how every single time that is spun back to be like, yes, I get far crap. Sorry? So every time they overperform, are we also going to do praising Farker, or are we going to say that, no, actually, that individual football player is really good? For a little bit of context, by the way, how were we doing in the promotion season? Under Marcelo Bielsa? Were we happy? Were we sad? Were we creating enough? Genuine question to you guys. Were you happy early on in the promotion season? Yay or nay? But this isn't what I'm saying, is it? What I'm saying is you're consistently winning games of football, right? Almost fucking all the time. We're outperforming everybody. And then the one time we perform below our standards, we still get a point. That's not me saying we need to be average all the time. That's me saying that being average every once in a while is okay. Right, okay. Yes, happy. Yes, we look like the best team in the league. We're 12 matches into this season, we got 23 points. Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds United, 12 matches into the season that they got promoted at 23 points. On a goal difference of 9. Ours is 11 right now. And guess what? We weren't top of the table then either. But were we screaming for heads? No. No, we weren't. But 12 matches into both of the respective seasons, we're arguably in a better position because we've got a better goal difference. And if anyone says, yeah, but we're playing more boring football, we've scored more. We have scored more goals than we did then. We've lost fewer games of football. I don't understand. I'll be honest with you. It feels like the goalposts just keep on shifting. And I'll be honest, it feels a little bit unfair. Because in that season, we beat Birmingham City 1-0, right? Do you reckon after that 1-0 win, everyone was like, yeah, but it should have been 3-0. And it's not good enough and we need to sack him and get Ten Hag or whoever the fuck else in? No. Because we had patience. I don't think it's about looks. And I'm repeatedly being told, right, that it's not about performances, it's about results. People will come into my chat and say, right, okay, so the result didn't happen, but we performed well, to me, as a point to try and beat me with. It's less exciting football, but if people keep saying convert performances into results, if we're doing that more, why is that a bad thing? I would like to be clear. I'm not one of these people. You've got to keep in mind, we've all got different opinions. We are different people, and we just say things on the internet sometimes. That's what counts. Yeah, it is okay to criticize a bad performance, but what I think we're at risk of doing, like constantly, is baby out with the bathwater, and that feels like we're a little bit too good at that. And it feels like we should probably not be, because it's not a very healthy way to do things. Yeah, I agree. They should have finished their chances. Didn't happen. Very nice. Anyway, I have a video thing to record now, which I'm going to do on stream. And I'm going to hop us over to a questions corner at the end of it. So if you've got questions at any point, please shout them at me. And I will chuck them elsewhere. But it's not... We played badly once. One time. I'm not saying let's constantly play bad football. I'm saying it's okay to occasionally have a dip. It's fine. Anyway, video thing to record. Going to do it on stream. If anyone has questions at any point, chuck them in the chat and I will try and get to them. Let's dip into it, shall we? So, going to start it at, I think, 38.5 minutes of stream done. I need to find a sheet of paper. Where is the sheet of paper? This is where we go from. Start at 38:30 and whenever the fuck it ends. Cool. But it's gonna be. Nah, you'll find out what it is. That's fine. We'll learn. We'll get there. And it'll be fine. Leeds United have drawn with Bristol City, and whilst from the outside that might look like it's either the biggest stumble in the world or fine enough, you've got a point against a team that's not lost at home, either way, it has started that inevitable conversation, the one that always comes around about footballing style and shape and structure and what it means to be a successful football manager. But this entire conversation, I believe, is based on some fairly significant misunderstandings. The conversation being around Daniel Farke and the way that he plays and all that sort of stuff. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how we don't properly understand the issues with Daniel Farke's Leeds United. And I think that is weirdly poisoning the well of conversation that we have as a fan base. And I think it's something that we need to be able to talk about in a little bit more detail. So in this video, I'm going to talk through what people think the issues are, what the issues actually are, have a little bit of a chat about philosophy, and I'm going to take a quick dip into some metaphors, talk about what the end game needs to be for Leeds United at the minute, and how we're sort of doing at the moment, and then we'll talk about what you think. And what I think is that you should really subscribe to the channel. So if you're not yet, do that. Be really appreciated. Anyway, diving headfirst into it, we need to talk about what people think the issues are. And these are widespread and consistent, and there's a few. The first one being there's too much sideways, backwards passing stuff, and it's fairly slow and it's meandering and it doesn't get us to places that we need to be. And for me, this is a discussion on football style. And that's fine. You can have those discussions. You can prefer a more active, upbeat, always going style of play. That's okay. Completely fine. But it's not the only issue that people talk about. People also discuss the fact that there will be underperformances in various matches, such as the Bristol City match. I'm recording this video as I stream right now, and we've just had a fairly in-depth conversation about, is it okay to underperform in a few matches? And to be honest, I think probably yeah. But at the same time, I think there's a little bit more conversation to be had about managerial style and goals and all that sort of stuff. And people also think that the issue is that Daniel Farke is leaning a little bit too hard on talented footballers. And that's a conversation to be had. We do have a very strong squad. I'm completely aware of this. Don't get me wrong. Last year we had Rutter, Somerville Gray, itchy nose. This season we've got Nonto, we've got Tanaka, all those sort of players. And that's also worthy of discussion. But that's not what I think the issues actually are. See, when you look into the various problems that we have at Leeds United at the moment, you've got to see the points, or at least the games, where we have dropped points this season so far. So running through it, we've got Portsmouth. Admittedly, that one fell off the wagon a little bit. Everything went very wrong very simultaneously, including Jayden Bogle giving away a penalty. We've got West Brom, which was a match where we very much played it safe and tried not to lose. We've got Burnley, which freak slip-up. We have to be honest, from Manor Solomon, Jayden Bogle not getting across quickly enough and not committing one way or the other caused problems, Meslier unsighted, we concede a goal, we don't get back into that game. Norwich City concede a penalty. That happens. Sunderland, Meslier completely misjudges the ball, goes past him, not good enough, we drop more points, and then Bristol City. Those are the games where we've dropped points here. And looking at it from my perspective, the bulk of points that we've lost are down to personal errors. So the Norwich City penalty is Rodon trying to get into a challenge that he absolutely has no right to win. He doesn't necessarily win, and he doesn't win that. And it's very rare that you would, like balance of probability, which sucks, but it's the reality of the situation, I think. Then looking a little bit further into the details, Sunderland is the Meslier issue. That's another 2 points dropped. So that's 4 points right there. Right now, we're 5 points off the top of the table. Talk about the Burnley one. Anna Solomon slips. If Burnley aren't able to sit in, we might win that, but you know what? I'm going to take that as 1 point. There's your 5 points that would have us top of the table. And it's individual errors. Same for the Portsmouth one. Bogle, stupid penalty given away. Meslier doesn't do well enough with that save. And yeah, outside of that, we've dropped points to Bristol City. We've dropped points to West Brom. But a lot of those issues that I've mentioned there come from individual problems. So to address the first point that people are having on he's reliant too much on good players, at the end of the day, his job is to put a system in place that players play within. And if people make errors within that, you can't blame him. If someone kicks someone in the penalty box, it's quite hard to call for Farke's head because he's not the brain on the end of that leg, which is tough, and it muddies the conversation a little bit, we have to admit that. But then we have to have a little bit of a chat about philosophy, because having tagged a comment that was flying through my comments just now, as mentioned, currently streaming as I'm doing this, there's a lot of statements that he's too negative and cautious. Sit on leads, settle for draws. And this is where I've talked a little bit about philosophy. But this isn't boring like uni philosophy or anything like that. This is actual footballing philosophy. It's a case of, if you're in a situation where you are drawing and you can push for a win, the fundamental difference between Daniel Farke and Marcelo Bielsa is that Daniel Farke is a lot of the time happy enough to take the point. West Brom away at the Hawthorns. You've just lost Jorginho Rutter. Team is slightly in disarray. You are having to play in a structure you're not used to, and you've barely had time to train this 11 together because you're thinking that you've got Georgie until 3 days before. You take a point. Because if you don't, you open yourself up, you allow chances, and the other side can win. Match against Bristol City. Yeah, we spent a lot of that match pushing for the victory. And we had plenty of chances that were missed. Mateo Joseph missing a chance, Dan James missing a chance, Nonto missing a chance. Bogle at the end of the first half, I genuinely thought I'd put it in, but he hadn't. And once it hits the point of, okay, it's really late in this game, if we overstretch ourselves, we can leave those gaps. and Bristol City can find themselves a winner, you take the point. And that's the philosophical difference between the two. And I'm really bad at explaining things without using metaphors. So let's talk a little bit of metaphor. And the way that I've put this is Daniel Farke keeps saying how much he loves chilling on the sofa with coffee and cake, living in a nice house, I assume. And those walls give you a little bit of security. It's not exciting. We can agree with this, right? He's sat there in front of Strictly, having a coffee, having a bit of cake, having a chill. Counterpoint. The specific phrasing, by the way, that I put for this point when I was discussing this video idea with someone else was Daniel Farke lives in a nice house, followed by Sean Healy gets eaten by bears. Because the alternative is bare knuckle brawl a bear. Bear a bear. Yeah, it's fine. Where, yeah, sure, this is a massive extreme. I accept this. But it's a take it to them every single time, and you keep on pushing and you keep on trying to cause problems for the other team, and eventually you might score a goal, but you don't know what you're fighting against a lot of the time. And you can get hit hard on the counter, and that's how a lot of teams will potentially beat us this season, because that's how this league works. You on the counter. That's what happens when you're a team that's dominating a league. And yeah, a lot of the time you might get a winner. That would be wonderful. But what happens on the occasion that you don't? What happens when you go all out and then all of a sudden you start leaking goals? At that point, you need to go more all out, and you need to desperately try and fight to score the goals yourself to get back into the game, but that's not necessarily doable, and that opens yourself up even more at the back, and that causes problems. Causes big problems. That's how you lose games of football. And yeah, admittedly, not fantastic. And that's where I think the fundamental difference is between Farke's football, which is the safety and the knowledge that, okay, sure, we're not winning this match, but we're on the road against a team that hasn't lost here yet, and we've gotten ourselves a point. It will do. Against desperately pushing for a point, because not a point, desperately pushing for 3 points. Because at the end of the day, if you drop points in those matches, you look a bit silly, right? We can accept this. And a further sort of version of this metaphor that I decided to take on was, do you have pets? Because I thought about sort of the risk versus low risk stuff. And I thought about how my own like pet rabbit got nearly rabbit napped relatively recently. Almost like taken out of the garage and breakout and all that sort of stuff. Now, that is real risky and real sort of exciting and danger. But from her perspective, that could have gone really wrong. I could have lost one of my pets that day, and that would have felt shit. So, for the period after that, we thought, right, okay, cool. I think we keep Nora in somewhere inside the house rather than the garage for a bit whilst we secure things up. And that's the same ideology, just transferred from sports to life. Because, yeah, a rabbit might love it running around in a field, but then a fox shows up. And as we learned last season, foxes are really good at stopping you from getting promoted. Because looking at things in a wider context, because let's get back to sport rather than pet rabbits being comfy inside versus excited in a field. What is the end game here? And the end game is get promoted. And there are just different routes to it. There is Marcelo Bielsa's take everyone as hard as you can and heavy metal football and make sure that you are winning those games versus if it doesn't look like the win is on, secure that point. And yeah, you can probe forwards and you can try and cause problems for the other team. But don't lose that point. And they're both completely valid ideologies. I loved the Bielsa era so much. Genuinely, it's what got me back into loving football and this stupid sport. But at the same time, this is effective. And effective isn't exciting. Effective isn't always the most interesting, but it works. And if you look at how we're doing, and if you compare us to that Bielsa year where we got up and everyone was really excited and loved the football, compared to 12 matches in to that season, we're 12 matches in right now, to be clear. With a goal difference of 11, we've got 23 points. That same season, we weren't top of the table after 12. We had 23 points. We had a goal difference of 9. And we scored fewer. So whilst the more exciting stuff is brilliant, fantastic, wonderful, you need to remember that at the end of the day, Daniel Farke has evolved from what we were dealing with last season. The matches where we lost most significantly last time out, such as the Southampton match, none of those Southampton games we had actual control of the midfield. The middle of the park was theirs for a lot of the time. So, tactical transition, secure the midfield, make sure we can't lose the match, and then let the attackers do their thing. And sometimes they will make mistakes. That happens. It's football. They are people. A hell of a lot of the time, we're going to win those games. At worst, we're going to draw. And we're going to get enough points to go up. And I very genuinely believe that. But at the end of the day, that is just what I think. So I kind of want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about this entire thing, what you think the actual problem at Leeds is right now, because I'll be honest, I don't think we necessarily have one. We just need to stop making the odd we need to stop making the odd mistake, and then we'll be okay. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, become a channel member if you like. This video itself is coming out something like 18 hours early-ish for members or something wild like that. It's great. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. Except don't go if you're part of the stream. That would be bad. And I would be sad because we're going to open up Questions Corner. Hey, we are. And we're going to have a little bit of a chat. We're going to have a nice little conversation. Look at the table from 1920. We conceded the fewest goals in the league. Yeah, we did. And that's fine. But we also had matches where we lost where we shouldn't. Match 11 of that season, we lost 2-1 to Millwall. Yeah, basically. Mistakes happen. And we need to acknowledge that. And we need to not crucify when those mistakes do happen. Because as long as we're crucifying, players ain't going to have a good time. We did, yeah. I'm not denying this. As I said, really enjoyed the Bielsa era. Got me fully back into enjoying football. It's the match that happened on Saturday, so it's not a new one. Sorry. Do I think the Plymouth game will be an easy game with a comeback on Saturday? I don't know about easy. I don't think there are easy games because Championship. No, right. Okay, you can't just go vibes-based approaches. That's daft, and you know that's daft. The more you sort of... One second. Yeah, the more we sort of... Because Daniel Farke isn't Gary Monk. Daniel Farke's Daniel Farke. Very different. This is a bit stupid. It's completely fine this last weekend. And this is why it's very hard to be a goalkeeper. Because your mistakes get replayed back to you time and 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 time again. Constantly. Meanwhile, When did you last think of the sitter that Brendan Aronson missed on the opening day of the season? Probably not. Because goalkeepers are held to a different standard. The goalkeeper makes a mistake, it sticks in everyone's head. To be clear, by the way, I've had a look at the stats. Even though Bristol City didn't get any shots on target at the weekend, still managed 2 high claims being catches. But that's okay. The actual numbers and facts disagree with you, but okay. That's fine. It's completely okay. That's normal. I do the same. And this is the thing as well, like 99% of the time, goalkeepers are told to punch the ball. I know this as someone that was coached as a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are told to parry or punch because that is how you get the ball further away from your net and you make sure that if you do drop the ball, which, to be clear, we have seen happen, doesn't go in the back of the net. Very interesting, by the way, how everyone was like, after the ball went through Melier, which, to be clear, I have admitted, big mistake. How afterwards everyone was like, why didn't you just kick it or like whack it or anything like that? And it's like, oh, now you want him to punch the ball or kick the ball. That's very interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting how the thing that works is what you want to go back to, even though you've been saying that it didn't work this entire time. Baffling. I was told to stand in front of it, hold your hands out and catch it. Then you were told wrong. Just to be clear with you. Because the way that if you are a goalkeeper, 1 second, I'm going to whack gloves on. I'm going to do a demonstration. Oh, bloody gloves. I was told to stand in front of it, hold my hands out and catch it. So, just for a little bit of clarification, these gloves are really tight. I've not worn them in so long. You were told to do this, right? Because that's not how you do catching as a goalkeeper. The way you catch as a goalkeeper is you stand, get behind the ball as early as you can, but as we've seen, there was a fucking divot, and you don't hold your hands out, because you hold your hands out here, bounces, space. Tuck it in. Draw it into you, and then it's held both in body and in hands. If you're talking about these ones, one, you're not making the triangle, doing this anyway. But considering it was a ball that had already bounced, I don't know why you would do one of these catches. Yeah, it was a freak accident, and shit happens. We have all watched enough football to know that the term shit happens is as accurate as it can be. On this one, I don't think you have to blame anyone, to be completely honest with you. Because I'd starred this a while back. I think the Ampadu one was a very energetic challenge that was more umphy than it needed to be. And it led to him getting injured, which is a shame. But I'd probably put that more on Ampadu. Gruev is, I don't know, that looked general wear and tear to me. Ramazani was injured in a challenge, like rolled his ankle. You don't have to blame anyone. Injuries just sort of happen sometimes. That's okay. Yes, let's blame Melier for the injuries. Sounds about right. It's what we do, isn't it? We just sort of say, right, what's the problem? Can we blame Milan? Perfect. I said that because Danny was blaming Bielsa for the injuries under him. There was discussion of overtraining, but then again, if we don't do that training, we don't get promoted, I don't think. So there's risk reward in it. Are they Kiko's gloves? I fucking hope not. I don't even think that brand of glove existed whilst Kiko played for us. No. Different brand. Okay, we're clear. We're clear. I don't wear Kiko Casilla gloves. That's fine. What brand of glove does Kiko Casilla use? Because the first one looked a bit Puma. He's worn Nike. Don't know. He did. It was before the match as well, and it was sort of like he didn't even smash it in. He set like a small explosive on a timer, implanted it in his ankle, and then just. And then when it looked like a tackle, it was actually Melier's fault. Thank you for being a member for 9 months, by the way. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it was overzealousness from Ethan, I think. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop us back to Questions Corner because I'm going to end the stream fairly shortly. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions, chuck them in my direction. Not necessarily sportsy based, not even necessarily sane or sensible. Just some questions, and we'll have a little bit of a natter, and then I will bring the stream to a close. I think it's going to be the idea. Let's have a look at my YouTube data. Genuinely no idea. Ones that have no grip on them. Yeah, that's about right. Ish. Because as someone that works in sports broadcasting things, we could really, really, really do with a very tight championship race towards the end of the season. And it's really good for the Constructors' Championship, not the best for the drivers, is the way that I can put that. Rafinha's really good. It was so nice. I know they're good. I've got them. I think mine are maybe a size too small, but even then, they're not really nice. I always lean Chinese because I'm not really a kebab person. Never been pro kebab. Dan James throwing goal, why does he run off to the left? I genuinely don't know. Honestly, I wish I could tell you, but it's a political statement. Oh. We're the third highest scoring team in the league right now, whilst having the fourth best defense. We're doing okay. Yeah, I think this was it. He's not the sharpest, but he'll sharpen up. He'll be fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that stream to a little bastard, Dr. Cox. Here's one player you want Leeds to sign in the January window on mine. I would still not mind us signing Ilan Cabell, just because I really kind of want us to get a number 10. I'll do one more quick poll, actually, because my thinking was I wasn't 100% certain on if I'd save the next FM stream for the next FM game, but it's coming out in March, I think, or May. I don't know. I can't remember. So, big question for everyone. Do I bring back the F1 FM streams for FM24. Just for one more save. Don't know what sides mine are, actually. Apparently you have FM, which is strange. Why do you have it? It's on Netflix, I think. It comes with Netflix. Mine aren't size 10. I know that much. Is it in the other glove? It is in the other glove. Aha. Yeah, I've got really like skinny, long fingers. Size 9 is what I have. But it's... I've forgotten what cut it is. Bloody hell. I think it's a negative cut because it's quite tight. Sounds about right. Yeah, I think that's... Yeah. Cool. It looks like you folks are pro FM stream, so I shall do one of those soonish. But I think I'm going to end the stream there. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, become a channel member, all that stuff. It's 99p a month, and it really, really does help, like, tons. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you later. Toodaloo.